Hi, I'm Whitney. This is my husband, Justin.
This is Tanisha Hansen.
I'm Dennis. I'm 30 years old, and I am a recovering spice and methamphetamine addict.
I was addicted to meth and crack cocaine. I started when I was 26. I met this guy. He had done it in his previous life and he was hiding it from me, and then I found something, so I was just like, oh yeah, I'll try it. So if it wasn't for meeting him and hanging out with him, I would have never done meth. I didn't like meth. I liked my sleep. I didn't like to stay up, so he's like, well, here, try this. And it was crack. Crack was my undoing. That's the one that I actually like to do. That's the one that I lost everything to. I had cars, I had a house, and everything was gone once I started doing crack.
I was one of those guys growing up that I drank occasionally during high school, smoked weed, did those type of things, and didn't really have a problem. As I got into my early 20s, through friends, I started messing around with Oxycontins, Lortabs, different opiates, which progressed fairly rapidly into heroin addiction. And I spent the better part of, I would guess, 5 to 7 years in deep heroin addiction, in and out of different treatment facilities, in and out of detox centers, in and out of my family's life.
Our stories are pretty different. I started using drugs and alcohol when I was 13, and it just progressed. You know, it went from marijuana and alcohol to cocaine to meth to Oxycontin to heroin. By the time I was 18, heroin was my substance of choice, but everything else was still there. I still wanted to use it if you had it.
With my spice use, I started smoking spice back when it became legal in the tobacco stores. I started that, and I did it quite often. I lost myself with spice, and I did that for several years till last year, that's 10 plus years. That's 10 years. Holy cow, that's crazy. But the last couple of those years, I started smoking methamphetamine. So I was doing both spice and methamphetamine together. It was crazy. I totally became a different person. That's for sure.
With being in a drug life and having all the depression and the anxiety, suicidal thoughts came upon me. And luckily, the 2 attempts that I did try, they didn't succeed, but I did want to end my life instead of dealing with all the problems that I was having. It seemed like an easier way out.
I was really depressed, and I was suicidal. I was suicidal before I ever started to use drugs in the first place. I self-abused at the age of 12 before I ever started using drugs and alcohol. And once I started using drugs and alcohol, that was when, at that time, it was a solution for me because I was so suicidal and depressed. And I had attempted suicide a couple times. I don't know how serious the attempts were. I was so young. But I had cut myself different times, and other weird things that I thought were suicide attempts, they probably really weren't looking back at them now, but cries for help, I guess you could say.
For me, that's not something I really dealt with. I had deep depression, and I felt like I would never get out of it, but I never actually
Contemplating?
Yes, that taking my own life. But I did feel like my life was over and there was no hope. And I had many friends around me that basically committed suicide through drug abuse.
it's not worth it. It's not. You lose everything and you hit rock bottom and you just drag on it and you don't get up at all. If anything, you don't get higher. You just get lower. You just, if not dead. I'm thankful I didn't die. I've quit smoking. I've quit vaping. I've quit drinking. I've quit doing drugs in the past 2 years. I think I'm 10 months now cigarette and tobacco free, and 10 months on vaping as well. Drinking I haven't had for 2 years. So right now I'm doing good. I'm a little chubby, but it's whatever. That's what a gym's for.
I went to jail for 5 months and then a rehab afterwards. That's what helped me get sober. That's what helped me get my mind healthy again and thinking the correct ways, having a routine. That's definitely what I needed. And I'm very thankful for the rehab, and I'm very thankful for the jail time too. I mean, being in there, sitting there alone all the time thinking, it helped me be honest with myself. This is what I'm doing that's not right. I know I shouldn't be doing this. So I'm very thankful for the time that I was incarcerated and in rehab. So I have almost 2 years clean. I am loving life. I'm grateful for things. I cherish everything. I don't take anything for granted. That's one thing that this whole process has really taught me, is that life is beautiful. So I encourage anyone out there to get sober. If you need help, ask for help. There's crisis hotlines out there. There's friends that you know that have beat this. Just reach out and ask for help. That's the only way you can do it. That's how I did it. I asked for help.
If there's anyone out there that's struggling and you want to take your own life, or you just want the pain to stop, whether it was pain that happened before you ever started using or pain because you started using and you're in this grip of an addiction and you can't get out, there's so much hope. My husband and I, we didn't meet when we were using. We didn't know each other in that past life. We've met since in recovery, and
I didn't have time for girls when I was using.
Yeah, that's true.
At the end.
But it's amazing. We've built a really wonderful life. If you were to kill yourself today, you don't know what's out there tomorrow for you. If I would have thought back, I have 7 years sober today.
Yeah.
And if I would have thought back 7 years ago and I would have said, where will my life be in 7 years? Never, ever, ever would I have imagined that I would have an amazing husband and an amazing job, 2 wonderful children, a house over a roof over our head, I should say, that this man that couldn't do anything with his life for a long time was able to buy for us. And we both have our families in our lives now, and we are good children to our parents, and good siblings, and good friends, hopefully. But it took some work, but it was worth it. I mean, it was completely worth it.
Definitely.
Every little bit of hard work and every hard moment was worth it. It
wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be back, like when I was using it. I
No.
thought it was something that would be so hard that it couldn't happen. But there's that saying, a day at a time. Just put your life back together a day at a time, and it comes back together.
Mm-hmm. It's really amazing. So if there's anybody out there that's struggling, just ask for help. It gets better.